Instagram. So you should see that pop up that we are now live, and then you can join in. So did you see that pop up on Instagram?
Not yet.
All right, it's starting to follow up. If you're on the feed, you should be able to jump in. We're glad that everybody is jumping on right now. So you should be able to send me your requests. Another friend just sent, hey, Jack, glad you're with us, buddy. I'm going to be bringing in another person on the live video, but we want you to enjoy and be with us today. And you should be able to send me that request to join. You see that yet?
Not yet.
What is your handle, Paula?
At Stir Psychology.
Stir Psychology, at Stir Psychology?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody, I'm just bringing Paula in right now, who's our special guest today on our Nooner. And we are going to jump right into a great topic today. All right, I just invited you.
Okay.
But you should have been able to jump in and follow.
Are you on Kick-Ass Couples Nation?
Yes, I am. Or you should receive an invite if I'm on my personal one, but I just sent you an invite. So if you'll jump on that. Welcome back to another Kick-Ass Couples Nation Nooner. We are live today. I have a special guest who is jumping on in as we speak. And you got it?
Well, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the room and I've invited you. And we are going. So we're going to have a special episode today on Kick-Ass Couples Nation on what do you do if you think your partner is cheating on you. And this is a tough subject, but a lot of people have felt that way. And Paula, have you, I'm in the room and I sent you the invite. You should be able to.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any notice. So sorry, and I'm trying to go on yours and it doesn't say you're live on mine.
And you're at Kick-Ass Couples Nation?
Yeah. I'm just scrolling here.
Okay. Well, we're going to continue, guys. If you're seeing us on Instagram and you're not able to hear the other half of this conversation, we will repost this live after it has occurred so you can enjoy the conversation that we are having. And yeah, we are live. All right, Paula. Folks on Instagram, if you are trying to follow us, we are not able to pull Paula, our special guest, in today. So we're going to post this live after we have it. So look for the replay. It is going to be coming at you soon. All right, yeah. I'm gonna try it again and see if we can go live again, and we'll crank it up. All right. I'm live. Paula, you should see me pop up soon.
Okay.
And if not, we're just going to abandon it and go.
Yeah, mine's not coming up.
Okay.
Matthew, sorry about that.
No worries. So I'm going to end that. And here we go, so we can enjoy this. Well, Paula, it's fun to be with you here today. We are live on our KCN Nooner. We are here every Tuesday from 12 to 12:30 addressing topics that are on people's minds. And our topic today is, what do I do if I think my partner is cheating on me? That's a horrible place to be, but a lot of people have been there. And joining to me today is Paula Gurnett. Paula, so good to see you from Canada.
Great to be here.
Jumping in for some fun today. She is with Stir Psychology, and she is also an elite KCN therapist coach with Kick-Ass Couples Nation. I am Matthew Hoffman. If you don't know who I am your CIO, your Chief Inspirational Officer and Relationship Coach at Kick-Ass Couples Nation. So this topic of why is this relevant? Well, a lot of people are dealing, Paula, with insecurities in their number one relationship. And it's unfortunate, but it certainly is there. Why do you think this topic is so relevant today? Why is it on the top of people's minds?
Well, I think that we all like to sit with the feeling that this would never happen to us. But the truth of the matter is it's super common. There's distractions. There's our own trauma histories that contribute to being disconnected to oneself and one's values. And, you know, in a day of the age of just being able to quickly swipe left or swipe right, the temptations and availability and accessibility is just bombarding us, really.
Yeah. There's a lot of people don't want to postpone their gratification, and they would rather get what they want when they want it, even if it's not the healthiest or the quote unquote right thing. And, you know, I want to kind of start with a little bit of quote here on this topic. And the quote is, "A mistake is something that happens accidentally. Cheating and lying are not accidents, they are choices." I've heard people say or make the claim, oh, it just happened, right? I wasn't looking for it. It just fell in my lap, or it seemed so right in the moment, right? And I think that let's kind of clear the air there, right? Cheating, lying, going behind your partner's back, or doing any of those things, it's a choice. And it's an active choice that people are making. So let there be no doubt, this is not, an accident is not seeing someone's car and bumping into them, right? That's an accident. You were totally unaware. But if you can't say, I don't think, Paula, that you're totally unaware of cheating or an affair or a relationship that is outside of your primary relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to mention too is that the person who has experienced the betrayal often feels a lot of shame, guilt, and responsibility. And it's really important to actually recognize that this was a choice that someone made. And in no way did you have the ability to contribute or make that decision for them. We all have choices, they have consequences, and it's just you have to be clear that there might be vulnerabilities in the relationship to be able to look at. But it is in no way the person who has been betrayed responsibility for someone's poor choices.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that goes, the whole idea of accountability is that it each lies within ourselves. And it takes two to tango in a relationship, meaning if the relationship's going to work, it requires the meshing of those two people. But you can't make somebody do something or not do something. The locus of control lies with them. And I love the idea of fidelity. That's a huge word. And if you looked at Webster's 1828 dictionary definition of that, Paula, you would see that they define a fidelity as a firm adherence to a person or party with which one is united or to which one is bound, loyalty. And I love that idea because it talks about united, meaning like a united front. You're on the same page, you're working together, you're bound to them, like marriage vows bind us together, or if we've made a commitment to one another. And loyalty, if I'm loyal to somebody, I am not going to think, say, or do something that would risk undoing that loyal or demonstrate my disloyalty, meaning putting somebody else ahead of that individual. And I think that I love the idea of fidelity because it's not just, it's of thought, it's of action, and it's of, everything that happens with that person in the relationship. And, I think that with the statistics on marriage, Paula, I know you've heard these thrown about a lot. 50% of all relationships fail, and the average duration of them is 7 years. And those aren't great odds. And so it means there's a lot of factors that can happen: disloyalty, infidelity, cheating. So if someone suspects that their partner is cheating on them, what are some of the things that they can do either to get to the bottom of that? And then we'll talk in a minute about um, what they can do to prevent it. But let's, what can they do just to really find out, is there truth or veracity in this thing right now?
Mhm. I think a first step that is a good starting point is to be able to just sit with reflecting within, connecting with your values, being clear about your deal breakers, and also, some people have experienced things that create their own suspicions a little bit easier than maybe they would if they didn't experience certain traumas. So it's being able to reflect on what is this me thing that is being triggered, an old wound, or are there legitimate red flags coming up? Are there things you need to address? There's certain needs in your relationship, whether it's due to cheating or not, that aren't getting expressed and being met within each other. For example, if I'm lacking quality time in my relationship, I could zip to the suspicion of infidelity, or I also can sit with my own vulnerabilities or insecurities and be able to express my need of needing to spend more quality time. How does that look like for us? So I think to do just a starting point would be to sort of sit and reflect within. Where is this sitting within me?
Right. Understand your own feelings about it. And I think that you
Mhm,
have to kind of write down, it's also a good way to kind of do some assessment of the relationship. Like, what do
mhm.
you think is strong? What's going well? What do you love about it? What are you happy and pleased about? And then what elements are not going well or are struggling or maybe in the dumpster or that just don't give you that warm and fuzzy feeling? And then when you look at those things, are there any red flags or indicators? If something's not going well, are you it and it's not going well, is that giving unstated permission to your partner to do something? Because are you driving them somewhere, or is the a challenge in the relationship giving a door or a window to them to look to something else? You have nothing to do with their decision to do it, but if something is not going well in the relationship or there's a struggle that's unresolved, depending on the severity of it, it can only stay unresolved for so long before somebody says it's not going to get solved. I'm going to look somewhere else to get what I need. And that is not an acceptable solution, but it's an understanding. If things are left unresolved or the disagreements are so large, that could create something. So, is this supposed to be, if someone feels my partner might be cheating on me, should they keep it in to themselves? Should they bring another confidant or a third perspective, or what do they do to navigate that once they've done that soul searching that you talked about and kind of they understand the status of the relationship and maybe where there's some things, should they only keep it between them and their partner, or should they get a third perspective or a different viewpoint?
I think that there's an opportunity within this for different personalities to take a route that works best for them. But I think it is important to be able to find support. So whether that's with a close, trusted friend or with a objective therapist, to be able to navigate it with a way of being able to process and gain clarity is important, and not just sitting alone and isolated, and kind of feeling, like you're spinning within this uncertainty.
Right. So bringing somebody in, if it seems to make sense, um, and finding out a different perspective. We've done that. Maybe you're getting support from somebody, but then ultimately, don't you really have to have a conversation with your partner? I mean, you need to, and it's pretty careful. You got to be careful how you prepare for that, right? It can't be a finger pointing, all the things you think they're doing or not meeting or their failings, but it should be a conversation that's in a good place, right? That you both feel safe and you're not concerned. And it should also be a way that you're both going to be able to talk and openly communicate about your feelings in the relationship. Can you think of some startups, Paula, or some phrases? So if I'm about to have this conversation with my partner, I've done my soul searching, I've done my research, I've talked to somebody about it, and I have a gut or an intuition that something might be happening. If I'm going to start that conversation out, what's a way to do it? And what are some of the phrases or things I want to say about my feelings and concerns that are going to encourage dialogue and not shut it down and be accusatory.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because sometimes it's how we say it that gets in the way of us being heard. So being able to start a conversation up, really talking about yourself, not describing your partner, because if you're describing your partner, it can often come across as criticism or attacking, and then we just start cycling from defensiveness to getting off the point. So when you're bringing something up, stick to talking about what you're feeling and what you're needing. So it might be, I'm feeling insecure about or concerned about our relationship right now, or about our commitment level. And I'm needing for us to go to therapy together, or be able to, I need some reassurance, or I've got some questions I'm hoping that you can answer for me to give me clarity. Really be able to sit with, and, I'm feeling about this, and moving into being able to ask a specific need. Your partner can't read your mind. Set them up for success and be able to observe if they turn towards you to be able to support you with this challenging time or feeling that you're going through, or valuable, hard to see, but valuable information if you notice that they turn away from you or turn against you.
Right. So based on the information you get back, if they turn away from you, deny, refute, and forget it, we're not going there, that's kind of a little bit more smoke that may indicate the fire. But what if you have this conversation and you talk about commitment and it doesn't necessarily go well, or they just you feel based on the signs of the conversation, man, there's something there, but they deny, deny, deny. No way, I can't believe you're accusing me. There's no truth to this. And so does that just mean we agree to disagree and we part ways? Or, and if I think you say, tell them what your needs are, tell them how you're feeling, express your concerns. And if they don't identify, agree, or that you have those things and they want to solve that, that's kind of a clear indication that they're not vested. Doesn't mean they're necessarily cheating, but it goes to the issue. But if they deny it and you think it's actually happening, what's the next step? How can somebody navigate a situation like that?
I think it's an opportunity to be true to yourself. You don't have to betray yourself in order to be with someone. So if you also can't control someone. So if they're willing to get help together to be able to work through some of the cracks that are appearing in the relationship, whether cheating is happening or not, there's some shaky ground happening here if this is the feeling that we're experiencing within the relationship. If your partner's not willing to get support, then it's up to you to be able to move forward in your own healing and journey of being able to figure out what are my values, my deal breakers, and how can I navigate this in a way that I can be true to myself and give myself time and an approach to be able to work with my partner, whether they're attending with you or not.
Right. Gotcha. So another point I want to kind of address is, what are the things that a couple can do before there's cheating to affair-proof their relationship? So we want to make sure as a couple, hey, we're doing the proactive things we have to do so there's absolutely no oxygen where a cheating scenario might occur. Where would you start for a couple who said, hey, either there's been an issue before, we want to make sure it doesn't happen again, or you know what? Are we taking good enough care of our relationship that we're not creating the opportunity? Where should somebody start with, Paul, on that?
I think right off the get-go to have conversations about it. Let's not base our relationship on unspoken expectations, but to have discussions and creating agreements around boundaries, what we both feel safe with, what we feel is appropriate, how we can be kind of putting a hedge of protection around our relationship.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, boundaries are huge. And so if you talk about boundaries, like for example, boundaries with the opposite sex. So if we're in a relationship that's between a man and a woman, my husband and wife, I know that my wife does not want me to kiss another woman. Even, the lips, absolutely not. Doesn't matter who they are. And the cheek is even kind of pushing it because she wants to know that she is first place for me when it comes to that physical intimacy. You know, of course, she knows I'm a touchy, huggy person, right? And for people that that's comfortable with, but I need to make sure that all my actions are respectful to her in that way and not allowing yourself to get too close to another member of the opposite sex. Because if you get really close to another member, that's a fertile field for a physical affair or even an emotional affair, right? So that I think that's important to know. We just had a question come in, and one wanted to know, Paul. He said, once there has been cheating, can a relationship ever be as good again, or will it always be tainted by the infidelity? How would you respond to that? And then I'll throw some comments in there too, back to Juan.
I'm a deep believer in relationship recovery. I've worked with many couples in healing and dealing through the affair process and the trust building process. And it is amazing how, when transparency and setting a relationship up to be able to design it where both individuals are feeling seen and supported and valued while they're honoring the relationship, it actually gives you an opportunity to meet each other on a very different, deeper level, because you're both really standing before each other, being seen, being heard. There's nothing to be hiding. So you're making the decision and making the commitment, knowing fully what we are moving forward in. I'm feeling accepted, and it really does demand a whole nother level of communication. In order to get through affair recovery, you have to talk and go places that are very difficult, but it really does pave a path forward in going to a whole nother level in communication and intimacy.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
I would,
can I just add one thing?
yeah, of course.
Is if it this is possible, but it really takes 100% commitment on both people's parts. So it's not one person feeling like they're working harder than the other. It's both people releasing everything and diving in. You cannot create commitment. It has to be something that's generated from within. So that is a major point in being able to move forward.
No doubt. And I think you answered it beautifully. And I was going to say, you know, it's tough because whoever betrayed the trust, it's not just on that person to do all the work, but the person whose trust was betrayed has to meet them and work with them. And it can be done. And I think one of the challenges we have to answer and be honest with, it takes so long to build up a trust bank account. A lot of deposits, a lot of regular actions, a lot of words to make somebody feel safe and secure. And when that's been decimated by an infidelity or by a cheating in a relationship, it takes time to rebuild that trust. So you have to be patient. It's not one apology, it's not a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months. It could take a year and a half to get to where the person that was betrayed goes, wow, I feel we're back at a place
Mhm.
that I am comfortable and I can rely on it. So I think it's definitely possible if both parties are committed and prioritizing the other person above everybody else. And I think they can definitely do that. And so I think we're talking about having communication and what do we do to kind of affair proof a relationship. And I think one of the critical things is, Paula, it's kind of like throwing the red flag. When you're feeling or waving the white banner, right? If you're feeling in the relationship that, man, I'm really unhappy and this is not going well, you've got to communicate that to your partner. You know, breaches in trust and relationships happen for conversations that were supposed to happen or should have happened, but they never did. So if you let your partner know, I'm struggling, I'm unhappy, I'm frustrated, or there's an issue that perpetually is coming up and we haven't talked about it and we haven't agreed to understanding on it, and it's getting in the way of me feeling satisfied and fulfilled. And if you're not able to navigate those waters, you can certainly get to a therapist or a coach to help you tactically work through the issues so you can have the conversation, so you can get the understanding or figure out the best way to navigate through that. And I think that's super important. So, kind of one last key point I want to touch on before we share some more stuff, Paula, is some of the most common reasons for infidelity or cheating and what can we done to interact those. Or what would you say to someone who says, "Oh my gosh, but the sex is just so good. It's exciting and I don't have that excitement or that satisfaction in the intimate parts of my relationship. How can I turn that down or let that go?" What would you say to someone who says, "That's why I cheated," or "That's why I feel the need to have that affair"?
We're getting on risky ground when we are idealizing alternative relationships. We're moving into a negative sentiment override, and it leads us to compare our partner with other people. And generally, our partner is the one that is being compared in the negative light. So the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it. So is your attention and energy being put elsewhere? And if you switch the direction of your energy, would it make a different impact?
Hmm. Yeah. Are you becoming a gardener of your relationship, or are you looking to go garden another field, right? I mean, you got to tend and maintain and take care of. And even that other relationship that you think is so wonderful and novel and great, if it's going to survive, it's going to require the same attention. So you're just shifting fields, but not really shifting problems, because the communication, the prioritization, and the commitment, if those aren't strong, the same problem is going to persist. So better to handle it and deal with it where you've made a commitment and really have that relationship there. What about when somebody says, I don't see a future with this person, so I've got to go find somebody else. We've just grown apart. How would you respond to someone saying that's why the relationship, the cheating, the affair was warranted or occurred?
I think within sometimes the strength of having a history with a partner can come the risky ground of becoming complacent and not really including each other into the exciting things of the day, or turning towards them, or creating new memories and having fun. We get complacent, we can get lazy, and so there is this dryness that can sink in. So it once again is about energy and intention. So
Sure.
I may not be feeling happy or fully satisfied right now, but if we did work and actually discovered and reconnected with each other, and through the years we evolve and change, let's keep up to date with growing together, knowing each other, and not just assume that our partner was the same person they were 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think that there's an opportunity to reconnect by getting back engaged. Be curious.
No doubt. And I think it's really about, we talked about this a little bit before, but it's about one of our main focuses at Kick Ass Couples Nation is prioritization. If you're prioritizing your spouse above everything and every other relationship, and that could be work, if you're more committed to work than you are your partner, that's a problem and it's going to show up in the relationship. If you're more committed to watching the football game, to your betting, to working out, or if there's somebody else, even if it's one of your own children, that's taking more of your time, focus, and attention than you're giving to your partner, that's where that breeding ground occurs for dissent and anger and frustration. And that creates the opportunity for that betrayal to occur. And just to kind of speak a little bit, Paula, I have a story. I have a friend who had an affair, and he left his wife and kids and married the person that he was having an affair with. And years later, individually, they both admitted to me that it was the biggest mistake of their lives, the biggest regret of their lives, and they would not do it again if they were given the choice. And and I think the message is really there are no winners in a cheating relationship. The cheater may feel, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm leaving something that's horrible and I'm going to this great, amazing thing." But the truth is, if you haven't handled the problems that have come up in the relationship that you're in, they are just going to come up again in the next relationship you move to. And you really have to think, you know, when we point the finger, right, there's always three fingers coming back. So you have to kind of examine yourself and saying, what am I doing that's contributing to the issues in the relationship? And can I honestly say, I am doing everything I need to do for my partner to feel valued, understood, treasured, loved, adored, fill in the blank with those adjectives. And I think that if your gut or your intuition says, I think something could be going on here, I would say don't discount that or dismiss it. It's probably an indication that you're uncomfortable with something that you're doing, or you're uncomfortable because you're not receiving what you need either from the other person in the relationship because their focus could be elsewhere. And it's good to have those conversations as we've talked about. And if you're out there sitting saying, yeah, I feel this way, I'm concerned the relationship isn't what it is, we have a solution for you. Kick-Ass Couples Nation is here, and we have relationship coaching. We have live learning webinars. Paula is part of those. We ask questions, we go deep, we talk about those key relationship pillars to give you answers to the question and tools, things that you can do to strengthen that number one relationship. So we'd love for you to go to MatthewPHoffman.com, check us out. And if you'd like to talk to me about what you can do in a free relationship assessment call, I'd love to talk to you. Go to the website, MatthewPHoffman.com, set up an appointment, and you could work with me. You can work with other elite coaches like Paula, and we can do the things that we would like to do to help you reach your own relationship nirvana. If there's anybody that's watching right now that has any other questions before we close out, we would love to answer those. We had one come in earlier, and Paula and I want to make sure that we are being responsive to you. For other resources, you can listen to the Kick-Ass Couples podcast, where my wife Kimberly and I talk to people who are masters in relationship and share what they do. And we also have special episodes where we address concerns that are on the minds of our listeners. We are here live every single Tuesday for a Casey and Nooner. Paula, it's been so nice to be with you, and I love hearing your viewpoint and your incredible advice. And you were dropping some gold today on our listeners. So if you're listening live, thanks for being with us. Or if you're listening to this on replay over on Instagram or other platforms, we are so glad you joined us. So Paula, thanks for coming out today. If people want to find you, Paula, learn more about the good that you're doing, where can they do that?
I'm located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. You can check out my website, stirpsychology.com. It's been awesome to be with you today, Matthew. It's been fun, and I look forward to more conversations about being intentional in building the relationships that feel great for us.
Thank you so much. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We want you to remember one thing, that happily ever after does not just happen. It is certainly on purpose. Come on back next Tuesday at noon, and we'll be talking some more. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.